Welcome to the Kings Beat podcast. I am James Hammond, Kings Insider for ESPN 1320 and the Kings Beat. Joining me today, Brenden Nunes from the Kings Pulse podcast. Brenden, how are you? Wearing your red A's hat. Does it make any sense?
I'm doing well. I was just telling you guys, I have fully committed to not caring what baseball hat I wear, except for the Dodgers, just out of principle. So
It's ridiculous.
I wanted to get more hats, and I like baseball hats, and I don't watch baseball. I haven't watched a full baseball game in years, including World Series.
But you realize their colors aren't red, right?
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
Like not even like a city edition jersey or anything like that.
I don't even know what's happening.
Yeah.
This is ridiculous.
Like, even if you don't care about, like, we should care about the continuity, I would hope.
Like no, I don't really care about the color waves.
It's fine.
Ridiculous. All right, and of course, Fox 40 Sean Cunningham is joining us. Sean, how are you?
Oh, I'm fine. Don't have anything all that unusual like Brenden with a red A's hat, but I do have a Giants shirt on. How about that?
See, look at that.
Baseball theme going. So,
all right.
Yes. Looking forward. This is a monster of a busy look. I always say no one feels sorry for us because, we get paid to cover games and things like that. But this is the world's tiniest violin right now because this week with the holidays, this one's going to be a beast, man. So Kings have what is it? 4 home games in 6 nights, 7 nights,
something like that. Yeah, man.
This is a beast.
This stretch is tough. It's tough. I feel like having a radio show at the same time and like having to get up the next morning after some of these games is not at all simple.
Can I start this real quick by presenting Sean his birthday / Christmas gift? We'll reveal it here, but I'll give it to him.
Yeah, let's see. What do you got?
Sean's birthday tomorrow, so everybody knows. Tuesday today, Wednesday tomorrow, Sean's birthday.
And De'Aaron Fox's birthday.
And De'Aaron Fox's birthday. And at Shoot Around yesterday, I think the first 2 minutes of the conversation was about sharing a birthday. And having a birthday close to Christmas and some astrology mixed in there.
Can I tell you why?
Yeah.
Because I say, so look, it was just Brenden and I. There was nobody else around. So I had Fox pulled aside, and I get these questions as someone who has a December birthday, a December 20th birthday. So I figured I would ask him a lot of the questions that I've received from people throughout my existence, where they're like, "Oh, it must suck to have a birthday. We're so close to Christmas." I know he loves Christmas. Like, Christmas is his most favorite holiday. He gets super into it. So yeah, I wanted to see if he would have a lot of the same answers as I have when it comes to the December 20th birthday, which is that no, it's not terrible to have a birthday close to Christmas. It actually kind of feels festive. Sometimes I did want to see if he had the moment where a lot of friends and family are kind of away during that's usually one of the toughest parts about having a December birthday. But he mentioned his birthday is really not all that special to him. They don't really do much. Maybe just go out and get a bite to eat. So then I brought in the astrology, because if you're December 20th, and I'm not into this kind of stuff, so I don't know what it means, but people always say it's special to be on the cusp of Capricorn, a Sagittarius on the cusp of Capricorn. I'm sure the YouTube comments will be all about it. They'll tell us everything we need to know about how special somebody in the Sagittarius cusp of Capricorn is. So I figured I'd throw those questions to him. I never had done it before, and he played along pretty well.
Sean's like, I don't know what it means. I just know I'm special.
I don't know.
I don't even know what Sean is talking about. This is all batshit crazy, Sean. All of it.
I know.
Okay, so my gift real quick, right?
Thank you.
What else could I do aside from a candle, right?
Oh, okay.
But there's a theme here.
Oh, sassy.
The scent is sassy. Me. It is featuring a feisty blend of spice and back talk.
Oh,
saw it and just
nailed
this
it.
This is perfect for Sean. It's perfect for Sean. So podcast candle, I will bring it to you at the game tomorrow. Shoot around, whatever.
All right.
Thank you, buddy. I love that.
That's
fantastic.
I love it too. I think that's very special of you, Brenden.
That's great. That's great.
All right, we got to get to this show. What's going on, everybody? If you're watching here on YouTube, we ask that you please subscribe to the channel, but also give us a thumbs up. That helps things like the algorithm. If you're listening somewhere else, then jump on board and give us a rating and review. We will have just like the world has been crazy for James and Sean and Brenden. We will have a off the record with the Kings Beat, either virtual or real happy hour in the near future. We got a lot to talk about though. I want to get something out of the way right now, and then I don't want to talk about it ever again. Is that okay, guys? Like,
Yeah.
I don't ever want to
You don't
hear
want to talk
Chance.
about it.
I don't
You
want to
don't.
hear Chance Comanche's name ever again. The latest revelations from this situation are some of the most horrific and ridiculous and pathetic, and there is a fiery place in hell for people like Chance Comanche and his girlfriend, or whatever whatever she is. Like, he admitted to some stuff here that is just so incredibly heinous. That dude needs to go to prison for the rest of his life, and they need to lock him up and throw away the key. I assume that somewhere along the way, the death penalty was taken off the table here. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, you can dig into the Chance Comanche story on your own time. But he and his girlfriend, or whatever they are, decided to kill another woman. They almost paid for someone else to kill her, but then instead, Chance and his girlfriend killed her. They dumped her in a ditch. They covered her body with rocks. They smashed her cell phone. He's admitted to all of this stuff, according to the report I read last night. And this is a player who played on last Tuesday, a week ago, for the Stockton Kings. He was actually picked up by the FBI at the Stockton Kings practice facility on Friday and placed under arrest. Do you guys have anything you guys want to add to this really quickly, outside of like RIP, thoughts and prayers to the victim's family here? This is horrendous, especially right at the holidays.
No, I mean, that's really all I got. It's disgusting. I get the chills reading the details or just even thinking about it again. And yeah, just to echo what you said at the end, wishing the best to Morena Rogers' family. And yeah, rest in peace. And, you know, holidays coming up and everything, like just keeping them in thoughts and prayers and wishing the best, but just disgusting, everything that happened, really.
Yeah, I mean, just a bunch of lives thrown away altogether. It's an awful situation, and it's not to be on a downer, but my goodness, to read a lot of these things is like something out of a Netflix, crime drama thing, and to know that that's real life is just horrific. So
Shocking.
I'm glad. I didn't know we were going to touch on it. I wish we hadn't, but would much rather move on immediately.
Yeah, that's where I'm at too. We've got basketball to cover. Again, if you guys want to read the details, you can find them out there. But shocking, stunning that the Stockton Kings had someone who would commit such a crime on their roster up until this last week. So, what we do have to talk about is a lot of, I think, pretty solid basketball. Some revelation basketball. Some like, I didn't see that coming basketball. Sacramento Kings are 16-9. They're 7 games over 500. They're a full month ahead of where they were last year, which I think is pretty crazy. They didn't get to 7 games over 500 until I think January 17th last year. Just like the state of where they are right now. I guess the biggest thing that we need to talk about, something that happened on Saturday. We're a couple of days away, but I think it might be like the most earth-shattering thing that we've seen, the development of the Sacramento Kings, and that is Keegan Murray going for 47. Just where are you guys at? We'll start with you, Sean. We got to see something special on Saturday. A player go for 26 points in one quarter, 47 points overall. But like, how surprised were you to see something like this happen?
Yeah, very surprised. I mean, we saw, that's the thing we love about sports. That's why it's the best reality TV. You never know what you're going to see at a ballpark, an arena, football stadium. It's incredible to know that you can walk into one of these venues and see something you've never seen before. And him going off for 11 straight threes and being 12 of 13, 11 of 12 at one point. Just absolutely incredible. No one has ever done that. And then you look at it and you go, my goodness, 26 points in one quarter. What, Clay had 30, 37, I think
37
it was.
that one quarter. Yeah.
It makes me even scratch my head even crazier to realize that happened. But, shocking. I don't know what's the 3-point shooting was certainly shocking. I don't know that it was all that shocking that he ended up with a career high 47 points, because they have such grand hopes for Keegan Murray. I think what's shocking about it in terms of the scoring was the fact that he hasn't really, jettisoned out to these scoring numbers that he had last year. He's been dealing with a back thing. He's been dealing with learning to play defense, but certainly it was a very, very special moment. I love the way his teammates around him not only encourage him and we're feeding him the hot hand and totally getting wrapped up in the moment, but much like everybody else, they're amused by how, just like we are, at his demeanor, at his quiet confidence, the shit talk that he has with some of his teammates that's so dry, and they always try to pry some joy out of him. And he can go out, score 47, barely smile, and still have a phenomenal feeling. And you get people who will compare him to Kawhi Leonard, and his demeanor, and just all that. But I didn't even think, sure, if you had to pick one, sure, that'd probably be the closest thing to that would resemble Keegan's stature and demeanor. Maybe even his brother, I guess.
Tim Duncan gets brought up, right?
Yeah, Tim.
Yeah.
That was the one. That was the one for me last year, even in the summer, that I would go to quite a lot, because Timmy was very quiet and very stoic and all that stuff. It's expressionless unless a referee blew his whistle. But I actually don't compare it really to any. It's like its own thing. Like, it really is an individual thing that he has, and it's so funny. He has such a good time with it. He's got a good sense of humor about it, and I love the competitive nature that he has with De'Aaron Fox. I think it kind of helps fuel some of this. And yeah, he can go out there and eclipse what De'Aaron Fox's career high is, which is 44 points. But then Fox can turn around and say, well, I have more 40-point games, and then tell Brenden and I, when we bring it up to him, he says, well, I'm consistently great. So that, like, even stuff like that, like even to serve a barb to Keegan Murray through the media was fun. So yeah, I love that.
Brenden?
The efficiency is ridiculous. Like, to make 11 threes in a row, what in the world? Like, did you guys even notice it was like that many in a row? Like, it caught me off guard at a certain point. And the second quarter, end of the second, he did really well. And then obviously that carried over into the third quarter. 11 straight is ridiculous. And to go 12 of 15, he was originally 11 of 12. Like, that's everything. And his willingness to get those shots up, I think, is a big part of this for me. It ties his season high at Iowa, or his career high at Iowa, in field goal attempts. Like, Keegan doesn't get that many shots up. I think part of my question about his ceiling is he going to be willing to go and take those tough shots consistently and obviously knock them down? But he's getting them up. And obviously, when you're on a heater like that, it's probably a little bit easier to justify it and feel it coming off your hand. But I liked the aggressiveness from him. I thought it carried over a little bit into that Washington game as well, just in terms of shot attempts. And even to hear him post game be like, this does a lot for my confidence of how good I can be offensively in this league. And I think that's huge. But Frankie Cardicelli, my guy, put out that Keegan's the 7th guy in NBA history to make 12 plus threes in a game. You got Klay Thompson, Damian Lillard. Klay did it 3 times, by the way. Damian Lillard, Zach LaVine, Curry did it twice. Kobe Bryant did it once, which was surprising to me. And then Donyell Marshall's on this list. Do I need some education, guys? What's with Donyell Marshall on this list?
No.
Because my thought is that everybody on this list, like, I can't help but be like, wow, this is a great game, but it's one game. But it's not. Like, this is a historic game. So how do you contextualize, like, what this means about the player that Keegan Murray is? Because of what I just said, it's one game, but obviously it's historic.
I'm going to take that, because I think that's where the discussion has to go. So Like Sean and I have always been sort of on different paths when it comes to who the best Toronto Raptor would be for the Sacramento Kings, right? He's always been a Pascal Siakam guy, and I've always been an OG Anunoby guy. Over the last couple of weeks, I had started to shift where I'm like, no, it's got to be Siakam because for the reason that the Kings need a top tier scorer. They need if Sabonis is your number 2 scorer, I think you're slightly limited in what your ceiling is as a team. If Sabonis is your third scorer, but then he does all of these other things, then I think you're like really, really incredible, right? All of a sudden, Keegan Murray goes from 13.8 to 15.5 to 16 points in 2 games. Like he took his 3-point percentage coming into Saturday was 30.4. By the end of the game, it was 35.7, and now it's 36.7. He's been able to raise his 3-point percentage 20 something games into a season by 6 percentage points in 2 games. That is wild. And I would now shift back to the OG Anunoby camp because if Keegan Murray can be that guy, I don't want to limit who he can be by bringing in a guy like Pascal Siakam. I want him to be the second leading scorer on this group and a guy like OG Anunoby who can come in and be a really good scorer, but a great defender to go alongside Keegan Murray as like the formula. That's just my opinion. And so Brenden, the last 2 games, the question like you asked, it changed just about everything for me because if that's his ceiling and if that's why the Kings keep talking about him in this light, now we see it. It's like, holy cow, he does have a different type of potential. And I would add this, like Harrison Barnes has been in the league like 12 years. His career high is 36. Kevin Huerter has been in the league for 6 years. His career high is 30. To see a player go out there in his second year and drop 47 and not have it be like a total accident and then back it up with 25, that shows me that, okay, this is a 20 point per game score, like for his career.
In the 8 games since coming back from his back injury, 20 points, 4.9 boards in there, 53% from the field, 50% from 3 on 6.6 a game. Like the Chris Middleton comp that everybody like seemed to mention when he first got drafted, and Keegan mentioned it himself, starts to feel more realistic.
It does.
Yeah, can I also point out something too? That game
I'm expecting
was so weird.
it's one game. That's what I'm expecting from
No.
Sean.
Go ahead. I mean, what was really weird about that game, in addition to that, was, hey, Utah Jazz, he is so far wide open. What are you doing?
Yes.
Do you not recognize he had 5 of 6 in the first quarter? Do you not recognize that trickled into the second quarter and he still was putting up shots? You're at halftime, you're making adjustments, and he goes off in the third quarter when you're just leaving him on this island, like the switch. He's just completely wide open. I mean, granted, he took his the 11th 3, he was deep, so I'll give him credit for that. And then they finally, it didn't come until, at least that I noticed, it didn't come until I believe the fourth quarter, right about the 11-minute mark, where I saw finally, hey, there's a double team. Like whatever zone they were using was flat out terrible.
Yes.
Now, granted, the Jazz are awful. I mean, they are trash. And we saw we saw an absolutely worse team last night with Washington. Absolutely disgusting team.
Horrible.
But they put up more of a fight, I felt, than the Utah Jazz. And again, here's where I'll say, yeah, one game. But how do you not adjust? How do you not recognize that this dude's got a hot hand and go at him? I mean, that is crazy to me that they allowed him to be so far wide open to destroy them. It was just insane to me.
Almost single-handedly, just wipe them off the face of the earth. You're like, what is happening? But
I mean, like,
but Sean, what does it mean? What does it mean for your long-term prognosis of the Kings and him? If again, that's what we just saw.
Yeah, I mean, look, it doesn't change much. And the reason I say that is because that's what they'll tell you. The Kings will tell you that. I mean, everyone I've talked to, it's like, you see a performance like this. Does it change the calculus and how you look at Keegan Murray? It's like, no, because that's what they want him to be. Not necessarily putting up 47 points. Something more on the line of what you saw last night, a 25-point scoring effort. fitting in with the three-headed, quote unquote, three-headed monster, where it's a Sabonis Fox. I mean, you've got two dudes that ended up with, Fox did get 30. Sabonis was just shy of that with a triple-double. I mean, everything went right. Now, granted, you're beating up a team with 4 wins, so let's keep the proper context. But, like, if he can be that guy, and if it's accelerated, even if it doesn't come, like you're just seeing glimpses of it this year, and he can be a 20-point scorer as well as a defender, or as well as at least a rebounder or something else that he adds to his game that's very impactful with the Sacramento Kings by year 3 or 4. Like, yeah, you're playing. That's phenomenal. This is why they're not shopping him. This is why people deem him untradeable with, proper context again in mind, that, everyone's untradeable until they're not. But nobody, they're not picking up the phone saying, hey, we've got a Keegan Murray special going on, come get him. Definitely not. Now, obviously, people are going to want Keegan Murray, but of course he factors into your long-term plans. This is why one of the reasons why he factors in the long-term plans. Having a forward of that size who can stretch the floor the way he does, hopefully add some quickness and some handle to him, there's still places he has to evolve, but this really, aside from just a historic night and him hitting 11 threes and yes, going for a career high, I mean, that's all great, but this is kind of what Keegan Murray does. He just took the opportunity to take, what was it, 23 shots, Brenden? I mean, he was aggressive. He took what the defense gave him, and guess what? The defense gave him everything.
I totally agree. Like, I think that this is one of those moments where, like, a player just stands out, and it changes what you believe, who he is and what he can be and all that stuff. I think, again, I think I tweeted out "A Star Is Born," and I reported on Saturday. From what I've been hearing, the Kings haven't had any discussions regarding Keegan Murray. He is not part of any trade discussion. They don't intend to move him at all. And what Sean says, like, until they do, I mean, it really does mean, like, if the Milwaukee Bucks call and say, "Hey, we'll give you Giannis Antetokounmpo," you're like, "Okay, Keegan Murray, sorry, we have to have you pack your bags." But I think what this does is it puts him at a different tier where you're not going to involve him in so many transactions that could possibly happen. Like Pascal Siakam and OG Anunoby on expiring deals, that's not even close to cutting it for a player like Keegan Murray at this point in the Kings' mind. And so I think that's where this kind of changes the whole discussion. Am I way off base there, Brenden?
No, I just also want to point out that this sounds very similar to the Tyrese conversation.
Yeah, of course it does.
Like,
yeah.
He was
and let's
playing
be honest,
amazing. He had 17 assists the game before he got traded.
Right. And let's be honest, Tyrese Halliburton, if you were to take either one right now, you'd take Tyrese. Like, if you're just starting your brand new team, you want Tyrese Halliburton, you want taking Tyrese Halliburton.
No, that's true.
So, and here's the other thing, James. Like, I don't mean to bash you as a reporter, doing your stuff. I will tell you this: I could have the owner, a GM of any team, come up to me, and if they say, "Hey, X player is untradeable," I will not report it. You know why? Because we see it as a kiss of death every single time. This person's not tradable. And what happens?
I hear you.
You get traded. This coach is not getting fired. What happens? You get fired. That type of stuff is just conjecture. And again, they may really mean it. And in this case, I think that they do. I mean, look, in a perfect world, they don't want to trade Keegan Murray. Look, that's not to say that this is going to be a different case where they're going to, go back and go on their word and trade him. That's just my own strategy as a journalist. If somebody tells me we're not doing this, I'm going to be like, okay, because I'm not doing that. It happens far too often to where the other thing ends up being true. But
no, I hear you. And that's where I'm like, hey, I'm not saying they're never going to trade him, but if he's not part of any discussion and like the teams are being told he's off the table right now, then for right now, he's off the table. Like, whether that happens down the road or not, like, who the hell knows? Like, I mean, we had the DeMarcus Cousins thing where literally everyone involved, including the Sacramento Kings, confirmed that he was getting his extension, and then he was traded 2 weeks later. So
during the All-Star game.
Yeah, during the All-Star game. Like, things change. Okay, let's hit this really quick. Number one, we are sponsored by Prize Picks. I have just been absolutely getting my ass kicked on every single time that I go out and play, but I'm having a great time with it. And I know Brenden plays a little bit. Sean is still like, no,
I
I'm not
play
doing
through
it.
you guys in a way.
You
Yeah,
vicariously through us.
yeah.
So
I like that James swings for the fences, and Brenden, we don't really get to talk about your picks too much, but I would imagine they're a little bit more conservative.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm gone away from Kings games, obviously, but
There you go.
I don't know. I'm still like let's put 6 picks in here because why not?
Oh, so
are you
Not
you
gonna
do
lie.
swing for the fences. Okay,
are you a
okay.
casual,
Like a
Brenden?
4 to 6, you know?
I feel like if you're going to dip your toe into it, maybe you start. Let's pick 4. Let's pick 3. Let's see how this goes.
Yeah.
Build up a little momentum, and then you swing for the fence.
You sound like
Then
you lack self-confidence, Sean. Believe in
Oh no,
yourself.
no.
believe, Sean, believe. Yeah, like we're having a good time. I think more than anything else, it's just a way to add something different to your game watching. And if you choose not to do DFS, that's totally fine. But I definitely, I mean, it's cool. You can win up to 25 times your money. You can look at football and mix and match with basketball or baseball. And if you go to the link either in the description below or the link in the podcast or the link that I tweet out during games, and you use the code, I think the code is KINGSBEAT. But I'll get that. I'll make sure that I know the exact code. They'll match your first deposit up to $100. So it's a good way to get in the door and try things out. And if you don't like it, like, hey, I fully understand. For me, it's just fun and adds another element. Talking about adding another element, uh, there's so much trade chatter right now. Is there anything right now that's just jumping out at you guys that you think, hey, that would make a lot of sense for the Sacramento Kings? Like I know Jake Fisher's story last week. Um, Talking Zach LaVine would love to become a Sacramento King. That one doesn't make that much sense. OG Anunoby, Pascal Siakam. Laurie Markkinen, who we got to see on Saturday. Is there anything that jumps out right now that you're like, hey, if I'm the Kings, that's where I'm chasing?
No, I had to mute because as my heater kicked on, I forgot to turn it off. No, I would say the Zach LaVine thing it puzzles me because I don't see how that really helps your team, and I think if you're doing that, it really takes away. Look, I like, to be honest, and I think those would disagree. There's such a thing as chemistry, and I think what Malik Monk offers the Sacramento Kings in terms of a playmaker, somebody who tries to bring it on both ends of the floor, despite maybe some defensive, shortcomings compared to what he brings on the offensive end. I mean, it really would signal kind of the end for him in my mind. And I feel like a Malik Monk in the long-term future with this team is better than bringing on somebody like Zach LaVine, who is just terrible defensively. And they need scoring help, as James kind of talked about. Like, I do see a world where they need scoring help. They need a guy who can go get you a bucket and be a sturdy wing player, in my opinion. But that's not the type of move that you go out and make.
Why does it signal the end of Malik, though?
Just because I feel like, look, I know Malik would continue to come off the bench, and to me, they're too similar in the role that they might play. Even though Malik ends up playing more of a backup point guard, I just feel the money would be harder for him to get. I don't see the two of them existing on the same roster in the way that they would. And look, Zach LaVine is the guy who puts up a lot of shots. He certainly gets to the free throw line, but I just don't feel like the way they play, it's designed for Zach and in my mind, the best thing that I feel like there's so many moves out there that they could do. I'd rather, I mean, look, I know he was just in the building last night, but Kyle Kuzma, you watch what he does, and you could absolutely see that being something that the Kings, it's funny because he was a free agent and all that, but watching him play, I was kind of like, yep, that you can see where he fits almost immediately with the Kings if he were to be traded.
Yeah, I think financially, I get what you're saying with LaVine for sure. I think offensively, he's a picture perfect fit, though. I think that LaVine could benefit from going to a spot where his playmaking responsibilities are lessened. And obviously that could go fully to De'Aaron and Domas, and if he was still around. And LaVine could be an elite play finisher. Not to say that he can't ever get positions where he's able to create, but let him thrive as a finisher. And I think he'd be phenomenal in this Sacramento offense. Like, I was trying to look at matching salaries yesterday, and you could do Kevin Huerter, Harrison Barnes, Davion Mitchell for Zach LaVine, and I think I put in like something Terry. Gosh, I can't remember his name off the top of my head. A filler at the end on Chicago's side as well, and obviously there'd be picks involved there as well. And say you're talking about Fox, Monk, LaVine, Sabonis, and Murray, like that's a really, really good lineup, but you're fully committing to the offense. And this is what caught me off about Amic's piece. And there's a quote in here that says, it's worth highlighting that the Kings' current roster focus appears to be on the value of additional shooting and offense above all else. That really threw me through a loop, to be honest. Like, I know they've taken strides defensively this year. I still don't think they're anywhere near good enough defensively when it comes to, if you're talking about competing for or reaching and competing for a Western Conference championship. And the offense, I think, is going to be better than what we've seen so far. Like, did that stand out to you guys? That was so weird to me.
Yeah. Okay. So I think another part of Amic's piece is Siakam. The Kings value Siakam over Anunoby.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest, I've heard the opposite. So I like it can just be like different sources that have different ideas of what the Sacramento Kings are doing. It's very possible that they chase an offensive weapon, and I think a little bit of that is because when you watch players like Kevin Huerter and Harrison Barnes just kind of disappear, and realistically, they're not demanding that they get shots. Where a guy like Zach LaVine walks in the building and like you're not stopping him from getting 15 shots a game. He'll go take the ball out of bounds, throw it off a defensive player, and then go dribble it and shoot the ball himself if he has to. He's not going to give up his shots. I don't agree with the idea that he's a great fit, though. And I agree with Sean that if you're bringing in Zach LaVine, that is the end of Malik Monk. And it's not because I think they play a similar role at all. It's that Zach LaVine makes like stupid money. He's at 40 million bucks this year, 43 next, 46 the year after that, and 49 the year after that. And at some point, you're going to have to pay Keegan Murray. And at some point, De'Aaron Fox, who turned down a 2-year contract extension, will accept the 4-year contract extension, which will be like between 50 and 60 million a year. And so you can't just go out and load up on $40 million a year players or $50 million a year players and think that you're always going to have money to spend. You're going to run out of money. And that means that a guy like Malik Monk, who's more like, I mean, with the Kings, if they can retain him, is just under 20 million a year on average over 4 years. You're not going to be able to afford him. And so I wouldn't give up the Herter, Barnes, Davion Mitchell package for LaVine. I mean, and that's not even talking about the fact that he blew out his knee early in his career, the fact that he doesn't play defense, or that that he is a like bulk shooting guard. They're just the money alone. I would much prefer to look for a 30 to 40 million dollar player than a 40 that goes almost to $50 million a year player.
For
Yes.
sure. And yeah, and just to be clear, I only meant I think it's a perfect fit offensively. It's a mess defensively.
Oh yeah, it's a mess defensively. So, and I looked at his defensive metrics. They aren't as horrible as I thought they would be, but they're not good.
I do also have faith in this coaching staff and team to get the best out of players for what it's worth.
Yeah. I had this discussion with somebody, and because I had said, hey, look, like defensively, he is so bad. And they're like, I don't think he's that bad defensively. Someone reached out to somebody like around the Bulls, and they're like, oh my gosh, he is so bad defensively.
No, it's terrible. And here's the thing: Alex Caruso cleans up a lot of mess for is someone like Zach LaVine. So if you put him on a team, like, look, De'Aaron Fox is defending at a very, very high level. Okay?
I totally agree.
I think I can envision team defense making Zach LaVine look better, even on a team that isn't great defensively, because of what De'Aaron Fox does. But that, to me, it's the wrong bull. Like Alex Caruso is the one that would be much more valuable on the Sacramento Kings, but he's also valuable for the Chicago Bulls, and the Bulls would be insane to let him go because he makes literally next to nothing.
Yeah, I would take him. They have Torrey Craig there too, right? I'd take Torrey Craig. Yeah, like I would take Patrick Williams. There's a trade that I would work out with the Chicago Bulls, but like that's if you're just playing on the peripheral. Like I think Alex Caruso could be a player who really fit into your rotation and helped you, but he's not the difference between you winning, 51 games and 57 games. He's going to make you better in the playoffs for sure. But I don't know that he takes that huge leap that like makes you just like incredibly better. Where I do think that either OG Anunoby or Pascal Siakam does. Where are you guys at with marketing?
I love Markkanen, but I wouldn't give up 5 first-round picks for him.
No, nobody would, right? Like,
well,
5?
I mean, that's basically what's being reported out there, is that he's in the caliber of that. That's essentially what it would take to get him. And as much as I think it would be nice to see him next to Sabonis, that's just not something I'd be interested in.
I like the size that he brings. I think the Kings are pretty undersized. And offensively, again, I think he's a good fit. But defensively, all that's really helping there is the size, and those picks are too much for me. I mean, same thing with the LaVine conversation. Whatever guy you're picking, you're pretty much stuck at that point. If we're talking about that, you're sending X amount of picks in this deal, like you better feel really, really good about that fit, because you're not going to have that much wiggle room after the fact, dependent on how much you give up. So marketing, again, I could talk myself into, I guess, but I would certainly look in a different direction. I just need a little more defense. Like I need a little more defense.
I'm with you. And look, the notion that you add defense and you don't add offense is silly. I mean, let's use Anunoby for an example. Like the guy who doesn't get a whole lot of touches, he's still right around the 14-point mark. That's something that with more touches, I mean, that guy would succeed in, especially with the equal opportunity offense that exists in Sacramento. He'd get buckets. So you're very capable of adding a two-way player, and it's exactly what you need. You need somebody who can make an impact on both ends of the floor.
Yeah, that's where I'm at completely. And OG Anunoby's at 15 points per game, shooting 37.6 from 3, 47% from 2. He's not, I mean, he's in offensively, outside of the fact that he can defend 1 through 3, 1 through 5.
Yeah, I was going to say much more than that.
Yeah, he's basically Harrison Barnes as an offensive player. He's very similar to Harrison Barnes. Like the assist numbers, the rebounding numbers, all of that stuff. It's just the fact that he can defend at an elite level and defend multiple positions is what makes him different. And I would even say, like, look, if the Kings are really going to get into that sweepstakes, I would put the chance of them moving Kevin Huerter higher than it would be moving Harrison Barnes, because Kevin Huerter's much younger and might fit what they're doing right now, because I don't think Toronto intends to just be horrible. They just know they need to take a step back to take a step forward, and they can't keep losing players who go into free agency and walk away for nothing, like Fred VanVleet did last year. And you're probably losing one or both of Siakam and Anunoby this offseason. To me, he's a better fit. And again, with Murray stepping up and becoming something different, that really does, like having 2 switchable forwards. I also could see a lineup where like OG Anunoby starts at the shooting guard next to De'Aaron Fox at 6'7", which is the same exact height that Kevin Huerter is. So yeah, I don't know, like again, what's going to happen there. But I do think that the Kings are big game hunting, and I don't think that they're messing around. And again, if you can get Lauri Markkanen, that's fine. I mean, he's under contract at like 17.7 this year and like 18.5 next year. So the tricky thing about him and Anunoby is that you don't have to switch out multiple pieces, or like you don't have to gut your rotation to go get them, right? you can go get them for one rotational piece and swap him in for another rotational piece, as opposed to a guy like Zach LaVine or even Pascal Siakam. Siakam, you might be able to get away with like a Harrison Barnes, Davion Mitchell, Chris Duarte package, something like that. And then again, a whole bunch of picks and other things. But these other guys, they make, right around $18-19 million a year, which makes them very easy to swap out players for. And then it just comes down to draft compensation and whether you have enough that's appealing. And then again, with marketing, I'm not giving up 5 first-round picks for anybody at all. But if it were 3 first-round picks, I'd consider it for a 26-year-old, 7-foot-tall dude who can rebound and score at will and shoot from the outside, and realistically on the offensive end fits perfectly alongside Sabonis and Keegan Murray. I just don't know that anyone has given up that kind of capital, even the pick swaps and everything else. I also would add that Anunoby, because of his pending free agency, this is something I would bring up, that a lot of people are like, well, if a team like Oklahoma wants Anunoby, they can go get Anunoby. It's like, well, they can rent Anunoby, but that doesn't mean that he will sign there. You don't know if he will or not, but because he's at the end of a contract, he has a player option for next year, but it's at like $19.9 million. There's no way he's accepting it. He can kind of say yes and no to whatever team that the Raptors might want to trade him to, because that becomes like, will you negotiate a contract extension or not? And if he won't negotiate, his value drops a lot to go to an Oklahoma City. Or if, say, he doesn't want to go to Indiana and he said, I would go to Sacramento, but I won't go to these other places. I don't know if that's the case. I know we've heard reporting that OG does not like the idea of going to Sacramento, but I haven't heard that at all.
No.
Yeah, I haven't heard that at all from around the circles that I've checked in with. And what I do hear, he's pretty relaxed and chill. And chances are, if he went to the right spot, he would go.
If anything, whispers of the opposite, like that. There's a clutch connection in Sacramento now, and De'Aaron is one of the bigger clients. And I think that there's a thought that OG maybe hasn't gotten the opportunity to spread his wings in the way that he would want in Toronto, and that maybe coming over to Sacramento and being that piece that helps elevate this team to another level could be a big change in the trajectory of his career.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. Was there any other takeaways from the last couple of games that you guys want to point to?
Well, I mean, this is a stretch where it's going to get really interesting, and you could argue that the Kings are playing some of their best ball at times. I would also caution that you won 5 of 6, but really the best win was the Phoenix game. You lost to the Clippers in that game, and you had the Phoenix Suns game, which nobody really played. So you've kind of feasted on some opportunities, but I think you have a moment here with the Celtics on the horizon. You get the Suns again. Obviously, Bradley Beal won't play in that game; he's hurt. And then you have the first place Timberwolves, who are going to be really pissed off at what you did, taking their first loss on their home floor just a couple weeks back. So to me, this is going to be a real true test for the Kings. These next 3 games to kind of be a barometer week, if you will, to see how they close out the homestand, see if you can at least get 3 before you go out on the road, and really set yourself up pretty well for what's to come in the coming weeks, because I think they've been able to have their ups and downs. You've seen what they've looked like when they're bad. You've seen what they look like when they're obviously running on all cylinders. You obviously had Fox miss a game recently and come back and look like he hadn't missed a beat. So there's things that they've dealt with. Obviously, we talked about Keegan, but I like where they are. I mean, despite some of the kind of the table I set here, I kind of like where they are to come into this game. And I think most of the focus coming in on Wednesday's game against the Celtics is going to be really, really a fun game to watch. And hopefully the Kings bring it, because you're going up against really 2 first place teams right now in each conference. And this, to me, it doesn't get any better than that. You've got an opportunity, even though they don't play on Christmas Day, you've got an opportunity to have that Christmas Day kind of feel for two of these games. And I really want to see how the team responds because, again, they're playing really good ball despite some of the shortcomings of other teams and who's available and all that. You can't control that. You just play the game. So I think this is a good stretch for them.
Brenden?
He's on mute.
Oh.
Whoops. Yeah, I think this is going to be pretty telling. Like Phoenix is mixed in there as well, which I think is a good competition for Sacramento. That Wizards game was really gross, guys. Like from the Kings' perspective too. Like I know Washington sucks, but you gave up 131 to the Wizards, and I know it was 40 in the fourth quarter and those final garbage minutes. Those guys played really bad, and Mike Brown talked about it definitely post game, talking about how Keon Ellis won his spot in the rotation playing garbage minutes in Houston. And these guys didn't go out there and take advantage of that. Actually, they did the opposite. But you need to take advantage of this stretch. Just the one other thing I'll point out is that Sacramento's All-Stars are kicking ass this year. De'Aaron Fox is playing out of his mind. The three-point shot is real, and he's extremely confident. Anybody goes under a screen, he's pulling it. If you go over, it's, you're asking to just totally get ran downhill by De'Aaron Fox, who's an elite finisher, one of the fastest guys, if not the fastest with the ball in his hand. And Domantas Sabonis just casually, 19, 12, 7 every single night. Just casually, running the whole show. That Keegan Murray game, Sean, you talked about Utah's zone, which I agree with you is the most baffling thing ever. I don't even understand how you let that happen. But Kevin Huerter shared postgame that Domantas Sabonis was demanding the ball in the middle of that zone to shrink it and then make plays from there. Domas does so many small, unnoticed things that are just nuanced details for this team to enable everybody else. So that their All-Stars are playing like it.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I know Rasay, De'Aaron Fox's wife, called it out last night, on Twitter. Hopefully no one is ignoring what he's doing. What Domantas Sabonis is doing each and every night, it really is incredible. Last night he just posted his third triple-double of the season. He's third in the league in double-doubles at, I think, 21. But he's one behind AD and two behind, or maybe they're both now one behind Jokic, who didn't play last night.
By the way, if he gave a damn about recording triple doubles, said last night it was one he wanted, and he and I literally had that conversation coming out of the Utah win because we've had so many games where he's an assist or two shy, and
yeah,
he's like, I don't really care, blah blah blah. Then he comes into this one and says he wants to get it for his dad and his birthday. I mean, that's nice. That's really cool. And you could see he came in, he was trying to get it. He got an assist to Kevin Huerter that I was surprised.
No, did we lose Sean?
Sean's got great Wi-Fi today.
Oh, he does. Look, he just got
It's quite a face to stop on.
It is quite a face.
One for Sean.
Yeah, we'll see if he comes back. Oh, Sean. We'll keep going because Sean has been frozen. So those of you who are not watching on YouTube, there he is. He's back.
My bad. I have James' internet today.
You had a tough face that you were frozen on there.
Oh no,
not a great one. No, not a great one.
Someone may clip that. I don't know. That happens.
Well, just to clean that up, if he wanted to go after triple, he should probably have 9 or 10 triple doubles already this year. If he gave a damn, and he's always an assist or two shy, and it was cool to see him go out and actually get it. They actually gave him an assist on one that he gave to Kevin Huerter that I didn't.
He got to the exact same point.
Point.
There we go.
You're back. You're back. That was quick.
The Kevin Huerter assist they gave him. But yeah, Huerter had taken a few dribbles there and figured they weren't going to give him the assist. And Domas went and spoke to him about it. You could tell. He was like, no, shoot that shit. Let's take that shot.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, hey, look, I think this is good. We're getting to see the Kings. The Kings team over the last couple of games is a Kings team that we kind of expected. And they've got to figure out the back-to-back thing, which, again, it's going to be loud and noisy on Saturday. Because they play the Minnesota Timberwolves, again, the number one team in the Western Conference, on the second night of the back-to-back after facing Phoenix the night before. This is a big week. I think you guys are right. This is a put up or shut up week. I don't think they have to go 3-0, but you're at home. I think a 2-1 stretch here would be really, really big for your confidence moving forward. Then they have this weird ass road trip. I don't know if they play Portland, they fly to Atlanta, and then they fly to Memphis and then come home. And of course, they'll get to see Ja, who is back in action after missing 25 games. I think he comes back tonight.
He does.
Yeah.
He actually showed up to the team and got nothing but hugs and handshakes. They looked like they were welcoming a hero, welcome back from a war kind of a thing.
Well, they need help.
They do. I mean, I understand it. I get it.
Yeah.
They need all the help possible because they're terrible.
They are terrible. 6-19 with him out of action. We also have a bunch of really bad teams in the league this year. You know, I thought last year the like Victor Wembanyama chase would provide like for teams to just tank unmercifully. And man, the Pistons can't win at all. They've lost 23 in a row.
24 now.
24? And what is San Antonio at?
San Antonio only
Antonio's-
one.
they just
so
won.
I guess they won one. Yeah, they're
Okay.
4-21 though.
4-21. So what did they lose? 19 or 20 in a row?
It was 18, I believe.
18?
I think that's
Oh.
what it was.
Either way, they're horrible. They're horrible.
Yeah, they won 3 of their first 5, and then
Okay.
since have won 1 of.
Well, they lost
What are
18
we
for
at?
sure.
1 of 20. So I guess
Oof.
19 or 18. Yeah.
The difference right now, it looks like, I mean, it's 2 games when you think about it. It's 4 games from the 11 to 6. But the interesting part is because they were so muddled up last year where everything was just right there for the taking, even early on. But the separation is already 2 games from 10 and 11, where Phoenix is at 10, at 14 and 12, and then Golden State at 11 out of the playoff picture, out of the play-in picture at 12 and 14. And they're going to be without Draymond Green for, looks like, weeks.
Weeks? We'll see. I never buy that the NBA is going to actually hold on to that. You know, they usually move on pretty quickly. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. We'll see. Okay, let's finish with a real quick version of the business of basketball. I think that there were 2 ways that the Kings could improve this year. The first was on the defensive end, where I think right now, what are they, 16th? 17th, 16th?
I think
15th?
they were at 15th, fell to 17th after that, giving up 133 to Washington.
Yeah, and that's why Mike Brown's pissed, because the young guys that came in like screwed up his defensive rating, which would have been much better. Not really, but either way, the other way that the Kings can, I think, improve is on at home. And all of a sudden, this team is 10-3 at home. Just how impressed are you guys with the way that they've been able to sort of take advantage of the crazy home crowd and have some of like the biggest moments? We saw the 25 made threes last week. We saw another game where they made 22. We saw the Keegan Murray game where he drops 47. Like, it feels like the home court has all of a sudden become more of a home court for the Sacramento Kings.
Yeah, I don't really know why, but it definitely does feel like it. It helps when shots go down, obviously, and we know the environment in Golden One Center is one of the best in the league. It was rated as such during that annual survey at the beginning of the year as well. And, you know, I think they feed off of it, and they definitely have a team that gives the crowd enough reasons and highlight plays and spark moments to really get engaged in the game. So it's great to see them really taking advantage of that. On the flip side, the 6-6 on the road isn't exactly great. You know, those Houston losses mixed in there obviously stand out. No De'Aaron Fox. But it's really good to see them take advantage of it. You know, outside of them, actually, there's a lot of really interesting home and road splits around the league this year. You know, like Boston coming into town 14-0 at home. They're 6-5 on the road.
Yeah, 500 on the road is a good record in my opinion. I've always thought 500 on the road is, I'll take that every day.
Yeah, I mean, you hope that they could be like 3 or 4 games over 500 on the road, but you're not expecting a lot more than that. Even last year, 25? That was impressive. 25 and 16? 20. I mean, what
Something
is
like
that?
I got you right here. 23-18 at home, 25-16 on the road.
Okay, so 25. That's what, 9 games over 500. That's not bad.
No.
That's
I don't
great.
expect that again. I don't expect
No,
that
that's
again.
great.
Yeah. So I mean, that's pretty phenomenal. But yeah, I think that the home court advantage thing is something that we're kind of waiting for, because the crowd has been amazing. It's been sellouts almost every single night. Even for, I think last night was a sellout, even though it was a bad Washington Wizards team. So yeah, good to see them find success. And to me, like, again, if you can get to 30 wins at home, then this team's got a shot for like 55. That's what realm you're in. Okay, let's get to final thoughts. We got to bust through this pod pretty quickly here. We got places to go, people to see. Sean, you got any final thoughts?
No, just that getting a year older is always fun, I guess. Another trip around the sun, as they call it, or the moon. Is it the sun or the moon? I think it's the sun.
I think
Yeah,
it's the sun.
you
Son,
go around the sun. I'm not good at
you're the astrology
astronomy.
guy.
No, no, definitely not.
That's astronomy. That's astronomy,
it'll
not
be
astrology.
Well, you know,
I always love it when the Kings play on my birthday, like like a home game, even though it's still work and you're still going. It just feels a little bit different. I got to go to a game a couple years ago on the road during my birthday and just not work at all, and it was just kind of fun. I had a friend who was a fan of the visiting team, so I was like, hey, let's make this happen. So that was a fun experience. But yeah, looking forward to that. Also looking forward. I mean, the holidays around the corner. I imagine we're going to do a podcast before then. We're going to have the Christmas holiday coming up, but it's always fun just over these past few weeks. And obviously, even when the Kings aren't playing, they're still doing stuff in the community, and that's some of my favorite stuff to cover. And there's quite a few of them. So you'll be seeing a lot of Kings out and about the Sacramento region.
Yep. Brenden, what do you got? You in your red A's hat.
yeah, I'm excited for the Celtics to come into town. I swear the Kings always get absolutely destroyed by Boston. It feels, maybe I pay a little more attention to the matchups, but they've had some horrible losses to the Celtics. And I'm interested to see how it goes. You know, I think the theme with the Pelicans and Clippers that gave them issues is when you have multiple wing forwards that are creators, that Sacramento tends to struggle with those. Because after Keegan Murray, where are you going? Like, I guess there's Harrison Barnes, but when sometimes your help side defense is a Malik Monk or a Kevin Huerter, that's not really slowing these guys down. So I'm interested to see how they deal with it. And also keeping tracks on if Porzingis plays tonight, because I think that I was talking to some of my buddies that cover the Celtics, and their thought is that maybe Porzingis sits tonight and plays tomorrow, and Al Horford does not play back-to-backs for them. So Al Horford plays tonight and does not tomorrow. But TBD, we will see.
Wow, they ran Al Horford the game before. See, that's the guy I would worry about defending Domas. They're a tough matchup. They are. I mean, that Drew Holiday defending De'Aaron Fox is going to be tough. You talk about like Tatum. It's not just the long athletic guys, it's the long athletic physical dudes. And Tatum has turned into a long athletic physical dude on the offensive end. So I think they're going to be a little bit of a problem. But hey, look, if you want to be good, at some point, you got to beat teams like this, right? That's the way it goes. Final thoughts for James. I'm going to look outside.
Look out the window.
Because it's rainy and weird, and now it's sunny. But yeah, it's weird. I don't know. We're gonna try to squeeze in a pod before the holidays, but if not, happy holidays to everyone out there. We appreciate all of the folks that listen to the King's Beat here, whether you're watching on YouTube or you're listening wherever you listen. So thanks for supporting us. It's been a fun stretch here of good Kings coverage, which Sean and I had to deal with many years of not good Kings coverage.
Sucks to suck, guys. Can't relate.
Sure does. Sure does. Just froze right at the end.
Yeah. I thought he was pissed at me.
Bad. Probably. I think he still is. Look at him. He's
Yeah,
swinging.
there we go. There we go.
Oh, Jesus.
He's back.
Am I back?
Yeah.
You're back.
I don't know. You guys aren't moving yet, so I hear you, but I'm not fully back. So
No, you're good. You're
Stupid.
good, buddy.
stupid internet. Hopefully I'm back. But happy holidays to everybody out there. Thanks for sticking with us here at the Kings Beat, for being supportive. Am I back?
You're
Yep.
back.
Oh, now everyone's moving. Now Sean's not. Well, now Sean's moving. Yeah, I think that's going to do it for this edition of the Kings Beat podcast. We're good, everyone.
All good.
We're all good. All right. Sacramento Kings face Boston Celtics on Wednesday. We got Phoenix Suns on Friday, followed by the Minnesota Timberwolves on Saturday, and then like Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. So everybody enjoy the holidays. We'll see you very soon. Thanks for tuning into the Kings Beat podcast. For Fox 40, Sean Cunningham and Brenden Nunes from the Kings Pulse podcast. I'm James Ham, Kings Insider for ESPN 1320 and the Kings Beat. See you soon.